these are 5 quick-fire tips to help you when competitive play drops on Overwatch. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Stylosa. Welcome to the channel. Let's get stuck into this. Number 5. Do not spam swap your hero. Do not get into the habit of constantly swapping heroes. This can have a really detrimental effect on your team. You need to play as a team. You need to play cohesively. If you start changing your hero for every kind of situation constantly, there's going to be no consistency and the team is going to find it extremely hard to push as a unit. Sometimes you do need to swap, but think of this, consider this. A lot of the professional games at the highest level, they do not spam swap heroes. They may swap from one, like let's say they may swap from a Reinhardt to a Winston for whatever reason, but that's all they will do. They will not constantly swap back to maybe a Zarya to a Reinhardt again and then swap out and swap out. That is inconsistency, and you don't want that. You need to be focused when you play competitive. You need to play to your strengths, and you need to play as a team. Number 4, get comfortable with one hero in each category before you even think about going and playing competitive. Because when I'm referring to competitive, I'm not talking about a full 6-man stack. I'm talking about you going in and joining the queue maybe with one of your friends or 2 of your friends. You need to be comfortable with an attack hero or an offense hero, a defensive hero, a tank, and a support. If you're not, if you're a guy who can only play Genji, then that's not going to be the best, because Overwatch is a game about changing your heroes to combat what the enemy team are doing. If the enemy team's got double Genji, well, you sticking on your Genji might not be the best idea. You actually playing a Winston would be a much better idea in that case, because the Genjis cannot do anything to the Winston. Yet if you're playing a Genji yourself, then you could get cancelled out. So you have to be clever, but you need to be ready to fill a role. But you need to be able to fill the role playing a hero that you are comfortable with and that you are good with. Don't think, oh, we need a tank, so I'm going to play Reinhardt. I never play Reinhardt, but I'm just going to play him. It's going to be fine. It's not going to be fine. So you need to be comfortable. So I stress that when you're playing quick match games, do try out the different heroes in all categories. Don't just stick to playing a Pharah or a Widowmaker, because that's not really going to get you anywhere. Number 3, do not hesitate. If you're going to do something, do it. This extends to everything in Overwatch, really, but if you see there is a chance that you can take, then take the chance. If you start hesitating, then you're going to lose. If you hesitate as a team, it's going to be even worse. What you've got to do is kind of think to yourself, is this the right time for me to go? Do we need to push onto the point right now? Is there an opportunity? And there are a couple of ways you can work this out. Mainly, the main reason, the main way of working this out is if you look at the kill feed, and you notice that a lot of the enemy team have been destroyed, it's probably a good time to push the payload, probably a good time to jump onto the objective. Also, this extends as well to the use of your ultimate abilities. Don't ever emergency use your ulti. Don't think, I'm about to die, just use my ulti. That is the worst thing ever. When you start playing competitive Overwatch and you start getting into the higher levels, it's all about execution of the ultimates. If you get them right, and like if you're Zarya, for example, you've got Graviton Surge available, you notice the enemy team, they've clumped up, that's obviously a really good time to fire it in. But then you can kind of take it to the next level. What happens if you've got a Hanzo on your team, or a Pharah? You need to ask them if they've got their ultimate available, because it combos extremely well with Zarya's ultimate. There is a shed load of synergy there. So Zarya's ultimate goes in, it will draw them all in. Pharah's ultimate comes down, kills the whole team. Junkrat's ultimate comes in, potentially kills them. There's a lot of things like that in the game, and hesitation on using your ultimate can actually be detrimental to that, and also using it a bit too quick can be detrimental to it. So think about your ultimate, think when's best to use it, don't be too trigger happy with it. Always try and play to the ultimate strengths, and try and let your team know if your ultimate is available. I mean, there's a hotkey for it you can press on the keyboard, I think it's Z or X maybe, it's bound to, with it, unless you've changed the options. If not, tell them over the microphone, tell them in the chat or whatever, or say to the other players that you know you synergize well with, yeah guys, I'm going to do this. If you're a Winston, for example, then think about, right, I can jump into the fight, take a load of damage, then pop my ultimate because it instantly heals you, and then carry on knocking them off the points, or really putting a lot of pressure on them. Winston's great for area denial, kind of like D.Va as well. You could go in, drop D.Va's ultimate on the point to just push people away. Even McCree's ultimate, that's used to push people as well as way. You know, you can, as well as way. You can pull out Deadeye and people are going to hide. It's going to push them off the point, and that's positive. So just do not hesitate. Be confident in what you do. You will make wrong decisions, we all will, but don't worry about that. Just do not hesitate, because and ahhing whether you should go in or do something, that's not going to work, and you're probably going to end up with a defeat. Number 2, never, ever, 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 repeat this after me, never, ever, ever trickle in. Now what this means is going in one by one. You always want to attack as a unit, always attack as a team. Now that doesn't always mean all 6 players together attacking. You might have a Genji, you may have a Tracer. They may be in the back line disrupting the enemy team. That's fine. But the other 5 guys on the team, they need to push together as a unit. Do not run in on your own. I see this all the time. Like if a push has just been taken out and the Reinhardt's died first time, in the fight, the Reinhardt's going to respawn and then run straight back to the fight, maybe to get back onto that payload on Hollywood, let's say. But the whole enemy team's waiting for him. He runs around the corner, then he dies. And then the Pharaoh comes back, then she dies. And then the Junkrat comes back, then he dies. Then the Mercy's standing there like, guys, what's going on? You've just wasted time there. You've got to always stick together. There is an emote. Well, it's not an emote. It's a... What do you even call them? You can bring up the wheel. It's like a command, right? You can say group up. I suggest you do that and even just get into the habit of typing into the chat, guys, group up, let's go in together. You will be much more successful if you attack as a team. But do be aware, do not clump up, because as I just said with various ultimates, they can wipe you out instantly. So listen for audio cues. Junkrats is quite easy to sort of defend against. So when you hear Junkrat's Riptire shout, like the Riptire's coming to get you, spread out as a team. Just get into the habit of doing it. Zarya's would be more difficult because it fires a bit too quick for you to react to, but as you play more of the game, you'll get used to what's going on. You'll get used to when to expect ultimates. Maybe Reaper's ultimate's about to be ready after a couple of engagements, so you really don't want to clump together because he could wipe you out. You'll get used to it, guys, but remember, please do not trickle in. You will just lose games over and over again. Always attack as a team. And the number 1 tip, the absolute number 1 tip, this is undisputed in my mind, use a microphone. Now, I know a lot of people out there have got issues with maybe, I don't know, social anxiety or something like that, or, you know, you are playing with a bunch of random people on the internet. Starting to talk to them can be a little bit daunting, I guess, for some people. You don't have to talk to them, though, guys. What you've got to do is just aid what's going on the screen. Make basic call-outs. There's a Tracer. In fact, I made an entire video on this where I spoke about just giving basic call-outs. You don't have to sit there and make friends with these people. You need to be amicable with them, and you need to give them information, because then they will give you information back. And I think, I don't have any evidence to back this up, but I can tell you from my days when I used to play football at a pretty professional level, communication is key. If you do not communicate, you will lose. So it must extend to esports and any kind of competitive game. When you're in a team, talk to your team members, give them information. It's much faster than typing, and it will make you win more games. And that's what all of these tips have been about. You will win more games if you follow these top 5 Overwatch competitive tips. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been Stylosa. If you've got any more tips you want to put in the comments below, then by all means do that. I absolutely love reading them. I keep saying this, but this channel has awesome comments, which is amazing to me, especially because it's on YouTube. You know, YouTube comments are generally quite dodgy, but ours are really good, and I really like that. You can also follow me on Twitter as well, guys, which is @UnitLostGaming, and I'll catch you next time. Toodaloo.